Today is the day again, and the big news the other day got everyone mega excited for the future of Hogwarts Legacy, and well, it did not stop there, because it seems it's going to go beyond Hogwarts. Now, to quickly bring you up to date in 10 seconds, WB sees Hogwarts Legacy as a long-term franchise, aka more installments into the game as opposed to DLC. At least that's what people are slightly skeptical about, though it's unclear exactly what route they will take. Now, since then, it's been confirmed that Hogwarts Legacy is the biggest global launch ever for Warner Bros. Games, with over 12 million units sold and $850 million in sales worldwide in the first 2 weeks. That alone is mind-boggling, so at least we know that it's clear it's the beginning of something new, which leads to a new rumor that a Hogwarts Legacy TV series is reportedly in development at Warner's HBO Max. Now that's just one of the interesting things, because as I say, as far as the franchise and their perspective on the game, it seems like we're going outside of Hogwarts, still within Hogwarts Legacy, if that makes sense. Now, with, of course, the whole TV series rumor, I can see why they would be quick to do that, and I would definitely watch it, but I think it'd be interesting to see exactly what they do with it, and how, or if, it actually ties into DLCs or new installments into the series. Now, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Now, things get interesting here because Paul Tassi tweeted, and I quote, "I feel like a solid takeaway from Hogwarts Legacy selling 12 million copies in 2 weeks outside of Harry Potter's base popularity is that people still want dedicated single-player games with no extra BS attached." And I completely agree with Paul. I think right now what people are just completely appreciated of is, okay, sure, it wasn't 100% a smooth release, there were, a few bugs, etc., but from an overall picture, it was perfect in the sense of it rolled out smoothly, everyone was able to, for the most part, have a smooth experience. Now, I said this yesterday, and now that they can see it as a franchise, they could really make it bigger than it already is, but my hope is that they don't do what Ubisoft did to the Assassin's Creed series, and that's not to say that the games were bad, because they were not, but rather just letting a series fizzle out to where it's just not as fun. Now, one thing that continuously keeps popping up besides Quidditch being in the game is a Triwizard tournament, and it makes total sense. Now, one of you guys said the following: "A Triwizard tournament would be an amazing DLC in my opinion. It could even be held at Durmstrang. That would give us new areas, and Durmstrang is smaller than Hogwarts, so it would actually fit a DLC-sized effort as well in my opinion." Now, this is where things get a bit more interesting, because this is the whole element that, okay, well, it seems like behind the closed doors there are talks about going outside of Hogwarts. So another person said the following: "I wouldn't mind a DLC or two for Hogwarts Legacy, but from what I've been hearing, their plan is to visit other magical schools mentioned in the books and movies, like the American School or Natty's previous school Wagadu, which I am totally down for, because there's only so much you can do with Hogwarts starting at 5th year, and they would need to expand out into the world, more like having 2 more years at school, then the next game be you as an adult starting work for the Ministry as an Auror or something. But that being said, there won't be much room for exploration in Muggle areas." And again, I think that makes total sense, because there's only so much content that you can do technically to an extent within Hogwarts specifically, so to say. Now, I said yesterday, and I still stand by this, that I genuinely do believe there is at least a decade's worth of content for them to implement into this series as far as this video game goes. That's my opinion, whether it be in the mix of a DLC or a new version of the game, etc, etc. I genuinely believe there is a lot of content that they can implement, but again, they will need to expand, and that's the next big question: how far will they actually expand? Now, as I say, since that announcement as well, the big question has been, is it going to be, consistent DLCs in the game or a new game? And one of you guys summed it up perfectly, so the comment says the following: "I actually don't really care if it's a new game or a DLC, as both have their pros and cons. But one major thing that I actually wish for them is to take their time, because in my opinion, what made Hogwarts Legacy such a success was the fact that besides some minor performance issues, the game was actually finished, unlike other game studios that get pressured into releasing unfinished products that just get lost due to overwhelming negative first impressions. And I totally agree, but this is where I guess you can look at it from a different perspective. In terms of a wait time, I genuinely do not think we will be waiting anywhere near as long as we did for this Hogwarts Legacy game, because first of all, it was in production for a very long time. Now, you could also argue the fact, and this is what I guess my perception is, and again, please do correct me if I am incorrect, because I'm not a game developer. I've never made a game in my entire life, so this is just my 2 cents, my theory, whatever you want to say, but I feel like the base of the game is already there, so development time should actually be, I guess, almost sliced in half, because technically, to an extent, it's just building on what you already have existing, right? So arguably, it's going to be a situation, of course, if it's going to be a new game, that's a complete different story. But even then, technically the world, the characters, everything's kind of mapped out already. But of course, that's a different game, so that's a new story. But from a DLC standpoint, etc., everything's there. So it's just a matter of, you know, building on that existing framework that you already have. So from a timeline perspective, what I feel is realistic, and the reason why I'm going to say this timeline is because it's also with the assumption that the studio's only focus, like they have no other games in the pipeline, this is their main focus. So from a timeline perspective, I genuinely believe 2 years is probably going to be a sweet spot, either for a DLC perspective, as in a full-fledged, well thought out, good quality DLC, 2 years is realistic. Now for a new video game installment, it depends on the world. If it's going to be outside of Hogwarts, then absolutely I think probably maybe like 3 or 4 years is more realistic, but if we're staying within Hogwarts and it's a new installment of a video game, then I still think around that 2 to 2.5 year mark is actually realistic. But again, leave your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Now today is also the day, again depending when you're watching this, to get the exclusive Merlin's Cloak Twitch drop, which is at 2 PM PST and 5 PM EST. So if you missed it last time, now is your chance to actually go ahead and get it. Now overall, again, as I'm making this video, we are about 39 days away from something happening for this game, as a dev cleared up some confusion and, well, a teaser. So check the video that you see on screen right now.